Hello, I have here with me today two of Yamaha's CLP535 digital pianos. It's the first two in the range, the CLP525 on my left and the CLP535 on my right. Have a look at the ePianos website for the latest deals and offers on digital pianos and keyboards. So if you're trying to decide between the two at the moment and you're not quite sure which one's going to suit you best, I'm going to explain the differences between the two, give you my opinion on them both, hopefully help you come to a more informed decision. So first things first, let's have a quick listen to them on ordinary piano setting to hear what they sound like. I'll start with the 525. So ordinary piano. Okay, 535. So there we go, both very nice sounding pianos. And I really have to say, before I go any further, they are both really terrific pianos. I enjoy playing them both. The 525 price-wise is a little bit cheaper. It's £939 at the minute, and the 535 on my right here is £1,189 as of today. But both of them are fantastic pianos. They really are. They both have the weighted key, the Yamaha GH3 mechanism, so they do feel like real pianos to play. All the things that are standard on digital pianos are there, like you can wear headphones, you can turn it up and down, it doesn't go out of tune, and you've got different sounds, and you can record, of course. But the important thing, I guess the thing you're watching this video to find out, is what's the difference between the two? What do you get for your extra 250 odd pounds in the CLP535 here? So let me explain what the differences are. Well, the first and most obvious thing is the cabinet design. If you look at the two, they are quite different. The CLP525 has a very compact low-down cabinet. It's a bit more like the Arius range, if you've been looking at that, the range below the Clavinovas. And all the buttons are sort of hidden away on the left-hand side here. So it's a very, very minimalist look. But the CLP535 here, it's more of a classical design. It's got the front bit, the nice flat tool bit at the front, and the buttons and the controls are all here on the left, and they're very easily accessible. As you can see on the LED screen there, it shows you what instrument you're playing and other parameters as well. It's very easy to navigate your way around the various settings on there. Now on the 525, because they've gone for a very minimalist look, a lot of the buttons have multiple functions, so you end up having to push a combination of them and some keys at the same time. That's fine because it keeps the looking nice and neat and tidy, but on the 535 and the models above, they've done a very nice job, I think, with the LED screen, the way the buttons are laid out. I think it's easier to find your way around. Now, just while we're on the subject of key mechanisms and the way these pianos feel to play, there is a difference between the two. They both have the Yamaha GH3 mechanism, this fantastic 3-sensor mechanism, so they both feel like pianos to play with the heavy keys, but the 535 has the GH3X. What does the X stand for? It stands for escapement mechanism. Now, an escapement mechanism on a real piano, a real grand piano, is the part of the action that immediately after the hammer comes off the string, it removes it from the string so it doesn't interfere with the vibrations and the resonance. And the way the key feels is it just gives you a little notch low down in the travel of the key, and with the 535 you can feel it. If you're familiar with the way a real piano feels, when you just push down lightly on it, there's a little secondary notch. So if you're playing fast passages or light passages on a real piano, that's what you get. 535 simulates that. It's a little thing, but if it's authenticity you're looking for, then 535 has got that. So there is a difference in the sound that you hear when you play ordinary piano on these two clavinovas. The 525 and the 535 are both sampled from Yamaha concert grand pianos, but they're sampled from different models. The CF3S is what the 525 is sampled from, and it's the model above, the CFX3S, that the 535 is modelled from. So again, a little bit more authenticity and more like the premier flagship concert grand piano the 535 is sampled from. Is there a huge difference between them? Well, I can't really claim that I've heard it, but there it is. That's what it's sampled from. It's a better piano, so you can make your own judgment about that. Now, talking about piano samples, there's one very key difference between the two models here. While I was saying that the 525 has this Yamaha Concert Grand sample in it, the 535 has something new and quite special in it, and this is a sample of a different model of grand piano altogether, a Bosendorfer Imperial Grand, one of the world's finest grand pianos, and it's very different from the Yamaha Concert Grand. Quite well suited to classical playing, I think. I'll demonstrate it a little bit for you. It's just a little bit softer and smoother and mellower. I've really been enjoying playing it. Let me give you an idea of what it sounds like. So it's very smooth, very soft sounding, again good for classical music. That's the Bosendorfer Imperial Grand. So 535 is the first one in the range that has that. 525 only has that Yamaha Concert Grand sample on it. So the amount of voices you have on both of these is different as well. The 525 is again very basic, it only gives you 10 sounds, but that's quite a good selection. You've got a few different pianos. There's grand piano that you've heard already, a brighter piano, also things like strings and harpsichord, electric pianos. Now 535 is much more expansive, 34 sounds in total. So all of the ones I've listed there, plus you can do combinations where you can split the piano in two, something you can't do with the 525. I'll give you a demonstration of what I mean here. On the left hand side I'm going to use a bass and cymbal, and on the right hand side it's going to be a piano. So you can sort of accompany yourself a bit like a jazz trio band. I'll show you. So that's quite a fun way to play. You can split it in two, and with those combinations of sounds there's lots of possibilities for being creative or just making practicing more interesting. Now, very important difference between the two for me is the size of the speakers. When I'm sat playing the two, and as you've heard on piano, the sound from the 535 is bigger. From my point of view, when I'm sat playing it, it's louder and it's richer. Now, this has a lot to do with the size of the speakers. On 535 you've got two 30-watt amplifiers working the speakers, so the sound is much richer. And on 525 it's only 20 watts. So again, I'll play the pianos just on ordinary piano so you can hear what the differences are. Now that's not bad at all, it really isn't, but if I play exactly the same sort of thing on 535, listen, it's suddenly a lot deeper because of those larger amplifiers working. Straight away, that just comes through a little bit deeper. I can feel it through my feet a little bit. So speakers really do make a big difference. So if you've got more powerful speakers on the 535, that's going to make it sound better when you're playing it, and it will sound better, of course, to anyone listening to it as well. Recording on the two pianos is different as well. Again, with the simplified version on the CLP525, you can only record 2 tracks. Now this is useful because if you're learning to play, you can of course play and record your left hand first, play it back, and then practice your right hand over the top. Very useful tool, and I like it a lot on the 525, but 535 it gets a little bit more serious. You've got 16 tracks to play with, so if you're into composing music, that is fantastic, and you can use lots of different sounds on there as well, combine the strings and the choir and build up a whole sort of symphony orchestra thing. Much more useful for composition. So that's 2 tracks on the CLP525, 16 on 535. Okay, just finally, one more thing that I think is very important. I don't want to bore you with the technical things too much, but there is a technology called string resonance that Yamaha put into some of their clavinovas. Now, in summary, what string resonance is, on a real piano, when a hammer hits a string, it vibrates. Okay? And the strings next to it are affected by those vibrations, and the sound suddenly swells, and you get this lovely, lovely swell filling sound happening. Now on a CLP525 it doesn't have string resonance. 535 does have it, and what happens is when you're playing very gently, when you're playing with just light and shade and you're just brushing the keys, you can hear from every key that you play what sounds like a lovely swelling, filling sound coming from the strings next to it. It's a subtle effect, but if what you're into is playing with a lot of feeling and emotion, which is of course what you're required to do when you go through the higher grades, the 535, it's a more rewarding experience, I would say, to play it. I'll try and give you a practical example of this now. If I play a little piece on the 535, I'm just going to play it gently. There's an extra feeling to that. When you're sat next to it and playing it, you can just hear this resonance going on, and it's a very spacey, ghostly feel that you get. That's what string resonance is. You don't quite get it on the 525. Now for a beginner, is that important? I don't really think so, but looking long term, as you get better, as you go through the grades, you're going to become a more sensitive player, and that's why features like string resonance that you get on 535 is going to be a benefit to you. So what piano should I buy? That's the question. Between these two, price wise, there's about £250 difference, and I think if you get the opportunity to sit at one in a store, you'll see immediately the design, in my opinion anyway, is more attractive on the 535, a little more classical looking, and it's easier to navigate around all of the options because of the LED screen. Now 525, fantastic piano. It's under £1,000, currently £939. it's brilliant, but it's always the way with these things, isn't it? The next model up's always got something a bit nicer, and I think that is the case. Is it worth £250? Yes, I think it is, but of course you've got to work to a budget, haven't you? So I think comparing the two, 535, yes, it's better. Yes, it's probably worth £250 extra, but if you can, go and try them. But my opinion is 535, yes, it's worth the extra 250 odd pounds. It's a very good piano, but being a piano teacher, if a student of mine said they were practicing on a 525, I would be thrilled, because it's still got that great weighted keys. They even have synthetic ivory on the key tops now, so it's an extra little touch of authenticity, and 525 is a very good piano. So in this case, I think the 535 is the winner. That's my opinion anyway. I hope you found this useful. Do email us if you want to ask any further questions. And also tell us what you'd like to see, because we've got a whole store full of the whole Yamaha range here. What would you like to see compared? Quite happy to do videos. Do you want to see a certain feature demonstrated? Let us know. You can let us know in the comments below in this video, or you can email us on the email address that's coming up on the screen now. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to have a look at the ePianos website for the latest offers and deals on digital pianos and keyboards. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.